Faith from Mirror's Edge is a pretty bland character. The best way I can sit there and sum that up for her being a really bland character, because she doesn't really show much in progression of a personality. I mean, really, to be totally honest, she doesn't really show too much personality in the beginning of the game, or actually the entirety of the game, to be totally honest. I mean, there is subtle hints to kind of what her personality is, like especially with the moments with like Kate and Merc, more or less. But like I said, those are really the only moments where her personality shows. Next to that, she's more or less always on the go and always doing the mission. So her personality doesn't really get to shine nearly as much because of that. So when I say she's bland, it comes off as that way in the game. Like, her personality is not important, only the situation that's happening in the game. Now, I guess the best thing I could talk about more or less is those key interactions with Merc and her sister, and how she more or less comes off towards them. Well, we'll start with the sister Kate. With Kate, Faith kind of shows off her compassionate side and obvious understanding of the situation that her sister is put in throughout the game, kind of, and how she wants to help her despite her sister being a cop, which is kind of the bad guy in the long scheme of the game in a way. But Faith still cares for her sister despite everything. She knows that they have their own two different causes, basically, and she still cares about her sister despite all that. Now with Merc, he takes up more of a fatherly figure for Faith, and that's the overall thing about it. And Faith cares about Mercury really, well, very much cares about him, and the whole game just kind of, especially the way he talks to her throughout the game and everything else, saying the things like be careful, don't do whatever, don't be stupid, watch out, did you jump from that goddamn building, goddamn. It's a lot of certain aspects that happen in the game that show all that fatherly figure that Merc is to Faith, since Faith's father really didn't, well, since she pretty much ran away from home pretty much. And it's kind of it's crazy though to really think of it like that. But I really wish I could have talked a little bit more about Faith, but it's not much to really go off of with Faith in this game. I'd say in the reboot, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, there's a lot more I could talk about with Faith's personality, but it's not as profound there as is in this. It's not as profound on that game as is this one. Or maybe I'm mixing my words up. The point is, she doesn't have as much of a personality in this game as in the next one, which is technically a reboot. It's weird. I don't know. But I just feel like I said, there are still subtle hints to kind of show that Faith is grows as a character, but not really grow. It's just more like, I'm this veteran that gets put in a situation. But Faith, kind of has her say. She kind of stares off into the distance. She just enjoys the run. It's not really much to go off of Faith's personality. It's not really. It's just bland. They want you to read the comic to kind of understand, to get a general understanding of what Faith's personality is. And maybe that's the only way you really can understand where Faith's coming from. I forget what the comic was called exactly, but maybe that's the only way you can understand who exactly Faith is. Their backstory is kind of touched upon slightly in the game. I know the backstory, but the backstory doesn't really, it kind of paints a picture a little bit, but it doesn't really overall tie into the whole idea of her personality. So, like I said, if anything, the character of Faith in this game is kind of bland. She doesn't really show a lot of personality. She's overall a good character for some of her traits and the things that she does, but not for her overall mind and personality. Like I said, it's more, like I said, her personality is more, it's actually there more in Catalyst but not this one. It's not really there. I still love Mirror's Edge as a game, though. I still love the overall female protagonist and the things that she does. So, you know, sorry that Faith is just a kind of a bland character in my opinion, even from a writer's perspective. But yeah, if you really want to know more about her personality, I suggest picking up the comic, more or less. That would probably provide more insight into who she is rather than what the game did. The game kind of advances that story, but the comic kind of details the backstory probably a little bit better. So yeah. Anyway, guys, this is Character Interpretations. Thanks for watching. Woo!